Greetings, kindred. Thank you all so much for your understanding. This is the first video I've done in like a month. So, yeah, I've done the horoscopes and for Libra and for this full moon, and I'll link them below wherever you're watching this. So let's get started, really. The full moon will take place in the sign of Aries at 14 degrees. In opposition to the sun, who's at 5 degrees in Libra. So I feel like there's, an energy shift going on with this full moon period. So, the moon in Aries is quite passionate, very impulsive emotionally, and makes rash decisions at times. And there's a lot going on here because we have Mercury, who's in pre-shadow at the moment, about to go retrograde, I think maybe tomorrow, but we'll look at the calendar. So Mercury is actually going to be retrograding through Scorpio, but the pre-shadow did start in Libra around about 12 degrees. So in Libra, Mercury retrograde can be quite indecisive. So it's not really a good position for Mercury retrograde to be in. And in Scorpio, Mercury retrograde will actually start retrograde in Scorpio at 5 degrees. So let me just get my calendar up actually, so we can talk about it. I can give you the dates because I haven't done an article for this particular Mercury retrograde. So Mercury entered into pre-shadow actually on the 21st of October at 12 degrees Libra, and will go into retrograde on the 9th of November. So we've got a few days yet at 5 degrees in Scorpio. The retrograde ends on the 29th of November at 12 degrees Libra, which is where the shadow started, but it will go into post-shadow, and that post-shadow will end on the 17th of December at 5 degrees in Scorpio, where the retrograde begun. So it won't be until Mercury gets back really to 5 degrees Scorpio that we'll be completely out of this Mercury retrograde phase. So like I was saying, in Scorpio, Mercury retrograde does do better than in Libra. Well, at 5 degrees, it's like as we reach hurdles of new insights or new information, we go back into Libra where we become muddled and kind of indecisive again. So this Mercury retrograde, I really do feel that as much as it can be good on one hand, it can be kind of inhibiting on the other. So let's get back to the full moon. So like I said, the full moon will take place in Aries. Now it is showing here in opposition to the black moon Lilith, but I feel like that is not in effect yet, because I would say within 4 degrees. So it'll probably be in a couple of days that the moon will be in opposition to the black moon, but there is tension brewing here. Now the black moon in Libra anyway is all about our expectations, having very high expectations actually, not just of others, but also of ourselves, it's also doesn't like to be alone, likes to be around people. So really at 11 degrees, I would say it's like mastering our own kind of self-worth or mastering our own opinions, our own reasoning. But on the whole, this is, like I said, this full moon is a very shifting energy, especially when it comes to like, our mentality, like changing our way of thinking or just adapting to like, different kind of points of view. And Libra's good at that. Libra can listen to different points of view, but the problem with Libra is they can take them all on board at the time they're hearing them. Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, we're more kind of in control of our thoughts, and we're more investigative. So we don't really believe things that on the surface. We will need the proof. We will need to like go into things and really reach our own conclusions. But we do have three T squares as well. So the first one is actually with the moon and sun in opposition, and they're creating this T square towards Pallas, who's at 9 degrees. So I really do feel, there is an ending of a cycle here, especially with it being a full moon and Pallas at 9 degrees. I would say, like, maybe things we thought were at play are actually a little bit different to how we imagined them. Or maybe we're gaining like a clearer perspective. But like I said, with Mercury retrograding or in pre-shadow in Scorpio, maybe we are looking into things and we are seeing things differently. Maybe there's a change of mind or a change of opinion. Definitely atmospheric as well. But this T square does kind of make us a little bit more impulsive, and we do really want to step outside of our comfort zones and fight for our rights and fight for the rights of others around us. This T square kind of pushes us into that. The only thing is, if we lack confidence, then we could be acting impulsively in a way that really don't serve our highest good. So we just need to be aware of that. And I feel there's a lot of confusion between religion and spirituality here with this quincunx aspect with Jupiter in Gemini at the moment and Vesta in Ophiuchus. So I really do feel with Vesta transiting through Ophiuchus at the moment at 16 degrees, this is all about impulsiveness as well. I feel it's like more constructive, but there is this dilemma between religious values and spiritual values. So I feel there could be like conflicting energies when it comes to our religious values, in the respects that, to me, religion is just a way of life. There's a lot of rules and regulations around religion, which can make it quite dogmatic. Whereas being spiritual is like all about unconditional love. It's all about we are all one. No matter what religion we are, we all should value like the good in life, respect, spiritual values when it comes to how we treat others, how we treat ourselves. And, so there is a little bit of conflict here between the traditional sense of spirituality and the more alternative. And preferably, I'm more alternative when it comes to spirituality, but I just feel that over time, like the spiritual values have been pushed out there by people, like manipulating it to suit their own agenda. But we all know right from wrong. We all know good from bad, because really all that information is held within our heart space. So we know what's right, we know what's wrong. And I find with religion, they all have their own way of living when it comes to rules and regulations. And I really do think that we should all be strong enough and aware enough to really be able to form our own opinions around regulations and rules. And really, it's all about self-value and treating others how we would like to be treated ourselves. So there could be like a little bit of conflict there when it comes to religious practices. But it is also a very triggering energy. Sometimes we need that triggering energy if we need to stand our ground in something that we know is right. But it's a very impulsive energy anyway, this full moon. And yeah, I do see a lot of tension. So the second T square is with Venus in opposition to Chiron, and they're making a T square towards Jupiter. This T square actually leads into another T square as well, but we're getting to the third one in a minute. So with Venus in opposition to Chiron, it's like we're having to face up to, again, issues around self-worth, especially within our relationship. I mean, some of us, we are attracted to broken people if we've got that nurturing, empathic way about us. I do feel there's a lot of conflicting energy in relationships in general at the moment, especially if we're not strong and tight with our partner. We could feel like we're walking around on broken eggshells with each other. So that's what this opposition really shows. And with them both in square to Jupiter, although it's challenging, it is all about growth. It's all about reevaluating what's important and what we actually want for ourselves. But it does bring up challenges again around trust and self-worth. So we really do need to make, some conscious effort to deal with any old wounds that are preventing us from stand strong within our own self-values. And it's so important as well that we are being authentic about our needs and our desires. And then the third T square, which leads off of this one actually, is with Jupiter in opposition to Pluto, and they're both forming a square towards Venus. So Venus is quite active in these T squares this full moon. So with Jupiter in opposition to Pluto, we can really struggle when it comes to our vision or even our faith, again, leading back to this quincunx aspect between Venus and Jupiter. So maybe there is a difference of opinion when it comes to our spiritual values, because maybe there's a little bit of a power struggle going on here. And with them both in square to Venus, it really does make us kind of overindulgent in certain aspects. It gives us a really big appetite for the more luxurious side of life. But there's also power struggles with that. There can be dramas going on within relationships, maybe a little bit of obsessiveness. It's very intense. So we need to just be aware of that. And we do have a double-sided kite as well, with Mars in trine to Neptune retrograde and Ceres retrograde. And then we have Neptune retrograde in trine to Jupiter, and Jupiter back in trine to Mars. So overall, this can be very good when it comes to our intuition, but we may be overly idealistic because it gives us a little bit of enthusiasm and it gives us a little bit of confidence and it makes us want to get active. So all these energies, like with Mars, with the moon in Aries, with Mercury retrograding through or in pre-shadow through Scorpio at the moment, and with all this Venus, like our desires. And like I said, this is Mercury retrograde season, so we really don't want to be buying anything new, especially when it comes to mechanical or electrical equipment. But I definitely feel in Scorpio not signing of any contracts right now. So I'm going to leave it there, Kindred. And as always, I'm sending you peace and much love. Take care.